I want to welcome everyone to tonight's session about airdrops. Airdrops are super, super popular lately, and maybe not even lately, but there were so many opportunities to participate in airdrops and find out about new cool projects and actually win some tokens or earn some tokens by participating in airdrops. I personally missed the whole thing. I've never actually I don't know, participated in any airdrops or really figured out what exactly and how airdrops work. So I'm super happy about tonight's session. We have Dorcas here tonight. She is going to explain to us what are airdrops, how to discover airdrops, and how to really position ourselves in order to participate in airdrops. And for me, this is very interesting because, of course, having a Web3 career is super interesting, but there's so many other opportunities how to earn an income in the Web3 industry, and airdrops are a very good opportunity. So I would like to give the word to our speaker tonight, Dorcas. Uh, and she has prepared some slides and she has a great presentation for tonight to discuss airdrops, what upcoming airdrops there are, and yeah, how to discover interesting airdrops and to participate in them.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dorcas, and I am a DeFi trader. And I have been hunting and farming airdrops for at least 3 years now. So I would use this opportunity to explain all I know about airdrops and how you can start if you are just if you're confused about, farming airdrops. So let's begin. I was trying to see if I can share my screen. Okay, perfect. So this is a very simplified airdrop guide I created. So please, you can help to swipe to the next slide. All right, so this is the content that we'll be discussing. So there will be 6 of them. Firstly, we want to understand what airdrops are. There has been several misconceptions concerning airdrops, and many people have so many things to say regarding airdrops, but I would do an explanation on what airdrops really are. Secondly, we'll discuss the types of airdrops that we have, the basic requirements that you need to get started. Number 4, we'll discuss how you can find projects with airdrop potentials, because every day new DeFi projects come up. So how do you know which of these projects will eventually airdrop? Because there's something I would like to note, and that is 90% of projects that end up doing very big airdrops, they do not make any announcements prior. They only come after they have taken snapshots to say, oh, we'll be doing an airdrop and you can check if you're eligible, just after they have done a snapshot. So how do you identify what projects have airdrop potentials? We will discuss that. Then we'll also discuss how you can position for future airdrops. So somebody like Maria, who said she has missed out on so much, like I always say, what you have missed out on is nothing compared to what several other airdrops that we have in store that would come even in this year. So you pay attention to see how you can position for future airdrops. And finally, we'll discuss how you need to understand eligibility criteria, how projects qualify people for airdrop, so you can know how to better stand a good chance. So please, if you don't mind, the next slide. So firstly, what are airdrop? What is an airdrop? An airdrop is a free distribution of crypto to eligible wallet addresses. That is what an airdrop is. Most projects do this as a marketing strategy. So a new project launches. So let's give an example that, let's say, you permit me, please, because I love giving analogies when I speak like this. So let's say EkoLance has a DApp now, a decentralized application, and they want new users, they want an influx of users. And so EkoLance can say, oh, we just launched a new platform where you can swap tokens, where you can bridge tokens. We'll be giving our early members an airdrop. So this can entice several persons to come and start testing out that product or that protocol you built. So this is one thing that projects do. they use airdrops as an incentive to attract people to their project so that people can use their project and they can have so many users and all of that. So it is more like an airdrop strategy most of the time, and other times it is just projects or protocols just rewarding people, that are eligible for some reason. So we'll discuss different eligibility criteria as we move on. So there has been several airdrops over the years. The very first remarkable airdrop was Uniswap that happened in 2020. So Uniswap paved the way for other projects to start. Uniswap is like the pioneer. Please, I want to know if you guys can hear me and if
yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Please, the previous slide,
Yeah,
please.
we can hear you. Can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So Uniswap paved the way. Uniswap airdrop was like, it was not really the first airdrop, but it was the first airdrop, like it was the very first airdrop that was very loud and that attracted many persons to start wondering, oh, what are airdrops about? I remember that day I had used Uniswap DApp to swap tokens. And that day I just saw people talking about airdrops, and they said if you use Uniswap DApp, you are eligible for Uniswap tokens. So Uniswap just rewarded people who use their protocol. And the reward were massive, from like the list was around $1,000 and so high as I think $100,000 and so forth. So there's been Uniswap. So I gave a few examples of airdrops that have some projects that have airdrop just this week we are in currently. So there is the Testnet airdrop. Testnet did their airdrop, their very first airdrop. Testnet project was developed in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, and they gave an airdrop to their users. There is Pixel. Pixel is a game, is a centralized, is a GameFi project, and this week they gave an airdrop to people who use their GameFi app. Yes, so there is Optimism. Optimism has had 4 airdrops. This week they airdropped their 4th airdrop. So there has been Optimism 1 airdrop, 2, 3, and this is the 4th one. And this airdrop was rewarded to people who created NFTs, on the Optimism network. So if you created any NFT or you minted an NFT in the Optimism network, you'd be eligible for this airdrop. Then there was Mantle Moonshot. Mantle is a layer 2. They had like a program where you mint the NFTs and so forth, and they gave airdrops to people who have their NFTs this week. So these are just few airdrops this week, and there are others ones we are anticipating in few weeks, like the Wormhole airdrop and the rest of that. So yes, the next slide. So there are different types of airdrops. So this should give you a background, because the airdrop scene is very massive. When you come in and you don't really know what you are doing, there is every possibility that you might get lost in the swarm of in the whole thing, because there are different types of airdrops. So you need to understand the types of airdrop. That's the first thing, and so you can know which ones you want to do, right? So in the slide here, I mentioned 5 types of airdrop. The first one and the most rewarding type of airdrop is the retroactive airdrops. The second one is testnets. Third one, bounty. We have holder/stakers airdrop. We have combination of any of these airdrops. For instance, an example of a retroactive airdrop is a Testnet airdrop. I will explain all of this in the next slide. Pixel airdrop, Arbitrum airdrop, these are retroactive airdrops. And then, okay, please, the next slide, please. Okay, so I explained that retroactive airdrops are airdrops you get for carrying out activities on chain. So what are these on-chain activities? For instance, you swap tokens, you bridge tokens, you provide liquidity, you mint an NFT. These are activities. These are on-chain activities. So these are retroactive airdrops are the most rewarding airdrops, because you are spending your gas fees, you are spending your gas fee, and if you provide liquidity, you are actually providing a service for the protocol, because you are lending money to them, or if you stake on their platform, you are actually adding to their liquidity, and you are just adding to make the project successful. So retroactive airdrops are usually the most successful ones. An example of retroactive airdrops, like I mentioned, in the previous slide, were the Arbitrum airdrop. Arbitrum airdrop was a retroactive airdrop. Arbitrum airdrop was March last year, and they rewarded an airdrop to people who used the Arbitrum network. So this is what retroactive airdrop means. So if we talk about retroactive airdrop, it means airdrop, you need to spend real cryptocurrency, you need to spend money, you need to spend gas fee, and these fees can be really high, right? So if you want to engage on retroactive airdrops, you need to come in with as much funds as possible, because you are interacting with a project. You need to use your funds, you need to swap tokens, you need to bridge tokens, you need to provide liquidity, you need to mint an NFT, even if you don't want to, but you know that these activities can make you eligible for the airdrop, so you just have to do that, right? So this is what retroactive means. So we also have testnet airdrops. Testnet airdrops are airdrops given to people who test a DeFi protocol during its testnet phase. So if a decentralized application wants to launch, they usually have different phases. There's a testnet phase, sometimes the betanet phase before the mainnet. So the testnet phase is where the project is still trying to build, the dApp or the DEX, as the case may be. And sometimes there may be bugs, and the network might be slow, so they invite testers to stress test the network. So airdrops are used most times as incentive, because people have many things they are doing, with their time. So nobody wants to leave what they're doing to come to test your network for you. So most times, most projects say, oh, we have an incentivized testnet coming, participate in our testnets, and you get tokens at the end of the day. So during testnets, you don't spend real money, you spend test tokens. So they are also called for sale. So you just request these first tokens. For instance, there are different test networks, like the Gorilla network, the Sequoia, and the rest of them. These are just forks networks that you just request for fake tokens, and so that you can use to conduct transactions on a test network, if that makes sense. So many airdrops have been given to people for just doing this. For instance, DYDM airdrop. DYDM airdrop was last month, and many persons got this airdrop. Most of the people who got this airdrop were people who tested the network during its testnet phase. So they rewarded, wallet addresses that tested their network during that phase. Another example of a testnet airdrop was Aptos last 2 years. Aptos did an airdrop for people who participated on their testnet. So this can actually be good for the project. For instance, there is a chain currently called Bera chain. The chain they're trying to build, like it's like a layer, I think it's a layer 1 if I'm not mistaken, and the network is really it's really bad. It needs so much improvement, and the project may not even know this if there were not so many testers, right? So the more people test a protocol and add more stress to it, they make the network congested, and the team can be able to see, on the developers able to see, okay, what bugs and what needs development and upgrades and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, most times they decide to reward their testers. So this is where testnet airdrops come in. Then thirdly, we have holders/stakers airdrops. These are airdrops given to people for holding specific tokens or specific NFTs, right? So also holding or staking. So for instance, the Aptos airdrop was like a combination airdrop, because even if you participated on the testnet, you are required to have a particular NFT, an Aptos NFT, before you would be given their airdrops. So most times airdrops are given to you because of the assets you have. So for instance, you hold there are some very high value tokens you can hold right now that can qualify you for several airdrops, and several NFTs you can actually hold right now. All you have to do is just buy and hold them, and because of the community around those NFTs, for instance, the the Ape NFTs, right? The Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs and the rest of them, you can get some NFTs. You can get some airdrops because you have those NFTs. You can get some airdrops because you stake your tokens. Staking your tokens is actually a service to most of these projects because, like I mentioned earlier, you are providing your liquidity to them. You're locking up your money and you are adding to, boost their economy and all of that. So most times people are rewarded for doing this. So as we proceed, I'll mention some high value assets you can just simply hold, some high value NFTs and tokens you can hold or stake that can qualify you for airdrops. For instance, DYM airdrop last month was given to people for staking TIA tokens. So if you stake TIA tokens, you got DYDM airdrop. And also this month, there was also an airdrop called Alt. It was also for people who staked TIA. So just like that, this is how it is. So most times you don't even have to do anything to be eligible for an airdrop. All you have to do is just identify a high value asset you can hold, and voila. So thirdly, we have the bounty airdrop. So these are very pronounced airdrops. All you have to do, fill forms, do this, do that, do that. Most times they're not so rewarding, but other times they are highly rewarding. For instance, last year, I think it was November, there was an airdrop called Akam. Akam gave people as high as $100,000 for simply filling a form. And Akam is a very vetted, decentralized, is a very vetted research tool. You use it to research on tokens and to conduct on-chain analysis. So so you use the platform, you refer people, and you just sign up, fill a particular form and input your email address, and you got that airdrop. They did not announce this prior, they only announced it after they took snapshots, and those who were smart enough to fill that form got airdrops as high as $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, $50,000, as the case may be. So sometimes bounty airdrops may not really require on-chain activities. So if you're here and, depending on your portfolio and what you have, you can decide what type of airdrops you can do. For instance, you can see that retroactive airdrops require high funds. Sometimes in a day, you can spend up to $10, $20, $30, $50, $100, as the case may be, on gas fee alone on retroactive airdrops. But Testnet airdrops, you don't spend anything. You're spending fake tokens. You're not spending your real money. So this is safe for anyone who wants to try airdrops but does not want to risk their funds. There's stakers airdrop also. If you have stakers / holders airdrops are also for people who have some funds, because it requires you to stake tokens to hold some NFTs and the rest. But bounty airdrops may not really require you to do all of this, and it does not even require any on-chain activity most of the time. Sometimes just refer people, fill a form, refer people to a new DApp or a new website whatsoever, follow them on social media, follow them on Twitter, fill a form, and you get the airdrop. Then finally, combination airdrop is like a combination of any of these activities. So most projects like DYM, Dimension, DYM is a point for Dimension. So most projects like Dimension were combination airdrop because they airdrop to persons for testing their network and at the same time staking TIA tokens. So you can see that was a combination airdrop. So if you participated on their testnet, you could get the airdrop. If you stake TIA, you could get the airdrop. Then if you did both, then you know that you get the airdrop and you get a very high allocation, if that makes sense. So next slide, please. So you want to get started on airdrops. What do you need? Firstly, you need to have your wallet. You need to understand that there are different, you need to have understand that there are different networks, blockchain networks. And most times, blockchain networks are not compatible with most wallets. This is why there are new wallets. This is why there are wallets compatible with each network. For instance, we have EVM compatible wallets like MetaMask, Rabi wallet, Zerion wallet. Then we have Solana wallets like Phantom wallets. We have Cosmos. Cosmos is a different ecosystem, a different chain. So we have Kepler wallet and Leap wallet for tokens compatible with the Cosmos ecosystem. So you need to have your wallet, and depending on the project you want to farm, you can decide you need to have several wallets, right? So you need your wallet, number one. Number two, you need gas fees or your first tokens. Number three, and most importantly, you need basic DeFi knowledge. You need to know how to swap tokens. You need to know how to bridge tokens. You need to know how to run a network. You need to know how to run a node, right? You need to know how to deploy a contract most of the time, right? So I'm not a developer per se, but I can do most of these things because, I've tried them often and often and often. So you need to know how to do these things if you want to farm airdrops. You need basic DeFi knowledge. So you need to understand, okay, what network is compatible with this wallet, this, that, and all of that. So thirdly, finally, you need a community. I started farming airdrops way back as late 2020, and I lacked a community, and I missed out on a lot. A community is not necessarily a place filled with people. It probably maybe sometimes a community can be a platform, where you have access to people who understand airdrops, who research on airdrops and drop information about airdrops early, before you get started. Because like I mentioned earlier, majority of these projects, they will not tell you firsthand that, oh, we are having an airdrop. No, they don't do that. Aptos never mentioned that they will have an airdrop. Arbitrum never did. In fact, they even denied that they would have an airdrop. But you are left to your discretion and your research to understand that, okay, this project can do an airdrop. And as we proceed in the succeeding slides, I will show you how you can identify project like this. So even if the project comes and say, we are not having an airdrop, right? You know that eventually they will still do, right? So that is that for that. So yeah. So how to position for airdrops. There is no one size fits all method for airdrops. Every project has their own requirements, but it all boils down to identifying the project early and interacting. Now, this interaction can differ. What do you think this project need people to do, or what activity do you think this project can likely reward? For instance, are they on their testnet phase? That means you need to, carry out some transactions on their testnet phase. Do they have a specific NFT you need to hold? Then you buy the NFT and hold, and things like that. So you need to just identify what project will airdrop and interact. So this interaction, like I mentioned, might be different because these protocols are different. For instance, we have bridges and we have we have GameFi projects. For instance, I mentioned Pixel airdrop this week. Pixel is not a DEX. It is a GameFi protocol. So all you have to do is just log in, connect your wallet, and play your games. Play games, and at the end of the day, after like a 2-year period, they did an airdrop, a massive airdrop, in fact, yesterday. I think that was yesterday or 2 days ago. So what kind of project is this? What do you think they want me to do? Do they want me to play their games? No. Is this a bridge? That means if this is a bridge, then it means if they are going to do an airdrop, it just simply means that they will only airdrop to people who use their bridge. That's just the way it is. I don't know if that makes sense. I want to know if you guys are following. Let me just know that.
Very, 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 very well.
Okay, yeah. So I want you to get that point very well, that you first need to identify the project, what the project is about, and see how you can interact with it. That is your edge. Okay, so understanding eligibility criteria. All right. So I think okay. So now different, like I mentioned, interaction differs, and based on this interaction, the project might come up with a stringent or a flexible criteria for getting their airdrop. This was a hyperlink. Please, can you click on the hyperlink? Okay, just hold on, please. You will do that later. It's like Okay, so that's a hyperlink to Arbitrum eligibility, airdrop eligibility criteria. I want us to go through that so you can see how most projects, you know, how their criteria, what it looks like. So basically, if this is a protocol if this is a DeFi protocol, what they will look at when they want to give their airdrop is number one, volume. And what I mean by volume, how much did this wallet bridge? How much in total did this wallet swap? If I use, for instance, I gave an instance that let's imagine EkoLance develops a DEX where you can swap tokens and you can exchange tokens, right? Now, I use EkoLance DEX every week. I use the DEX. And at the end of 3 weeks or 1 week, I have an accumulative volume of $5,000. So my trading activity was equivalent, the volume I generated from my activity was $5,000. If I'll be getting an airdrop from EkoLance at the end of the day, my airdrop will not be the same as somebody whose entire volume was just $10. I don't know if that makes sense. So this is why I said that retroactive airdrops really reward a lot, because imagine somebody spending $100,000 volume on your protocol, like they use up to $100,000 on your protocol, swapping bridges, staking, doing this, doing that, and you calculated their volume and it was up to $100,000. You cannot compare the reward that person will get to the person who just used EkoLance exchange just once and the transaction was just $10. You cannot compare, right? So projects look at the volume you generated on their network, number one. Second, they look at your active weeks and your active months. How long did this wallet use our network? How long did this wallet use our games? How long did this wallet use our bridge? They also use this as a criteria. If I use EkoLance, for instance, I mentioned now Pixel, right? Pixel an airdrop. The project has been live since 2021. So imagine I've been using Pixel since 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. They did the airdrop. My reward cannot be compared to that of the person who just started using the project, the protocol last week or 2 weeks ago. So they look at your active weeks or your active months. So these information are important because it helps you to know, okay, if I'm interested in getting a project airdrop, it means that one interaction will not make me eligible. One interaction, two interactions will not make you eligible. So you have to be active as much as possible. Why? Because most times these projects, they use filters. They use certain filters to, you know, filter, because they don't want to give, you know, all their funds to everybody. So they need to like make it a little bit stringent, right? So you want to make sure that you use it often, you use their protocol often, use their products often, and you generated a high volume, you know, and all of that. And if they're also, okay, the next thing is NFTs. If they have an NFT, then you need to have the NFT. NFTs are not just pictures, like, you know, NFTs can be domain names. For instance, 2021, ENS, Ethereum domain name, they gave airdrop to everybody who has an ENS domain. So your domain name is an NFT, if you know that. So there is Lens. Lens is also going to do an airdrop, right? And you need to have, if you want to be eligible, of course, you need to have their NFT, which is their domain name. You need to have your own Lens domain name, right? So domain names are also NFTs. So you look at, do you have their NFTs? Do you have their domain name? For instance, ZK Sync is rallying up for the airdrop. They have a very high valued NFT called Libra Omnibus NFT. It was given to us for free, but currently the price is around $250 or thereabouts, because people are trying to buy it because they know that for it to be eligible, that this NFT will be used as one of the criteria, right, for their airdrops. So also unique contracts. What are unique contracts? Unique contracts is the protocols, the different protocols or the different protocols integrated on that project you're farming. Now let me give another example. Arbitrum did the airdrop last year. Arbitrum is a layer 2 network, and everyone who was actively used Arbitrum network 2 years ago and last year qualify for that airdrop. Now, but unique contracts we are also used to measure, user activity. Now, what are these unique contracts? Now, Arbitrum is a layer 2. Unique contract means you interacted with different other protocols that are integrated with Arbitrum. For instance, let's say Stargate.finance, for instance. Stargate is a bridge, right? Stargate is a bridge. Now, let me say I use Stargate bridge. I bridge from Arbitrum network to Polygon network. That is one contract. If I carry out 100 transactions on Stargate using Arbitrum, it will count for me as 100 transaction, one contract. Why? Because I only used one protocol. But now, let's say if EkoLance DApp, for instance, is integrated with Arbitrum, and you can swap tokens from Arbitrum to other chains on EkoLance. And I also used EkoLance DApp to swap or to bridge tokens from Arbitrum network to another network, and I used it 100 times. That means I have interacted with Stargate, I have interacted with EkoLance, still on Arbitrum network. This is equal to 2 contracts. So contracts are the different protocols, the different protocols, so let's put it that way, or the different contracts you interacted with on that network. If I mint 10 different NFTs on Arbitrum network, I have 10 transactions, 10 contracts. If I carry out 10 transactions on EkoLance DApp on Arbitrum network, I have 10 transactions, 1 contract, because I only used one decentralized application, which was EkoLance. So these things are used as eligibility criteria. So if you're forming an airdrop, you want to look at what other projects are integrated with this, what other protocols are integrated with this project. You want to use them so that it can count for you as different contracts, because all of these things will make you a real user, right? So next slide. Okay, sorry, please, can you click on the hyperlink if that's possible? I wanted to just explain that. Yes, please. Okay. So that's the hyperlink will lead you to Arbitrum websites, and you will see their eligibility criteria. So I want to show, I want everyone to see that how this project calculates their criteria. So so this is like the eligibility criteria that Arbitrum used. So let us go through it. So going through this, the reason why we're going through this stress is so that you can see how this project, they calculate who is eligible for what. So with this understanding, it will guide you on what airdrops you're farming and how to farm them. Like I mentioned earlier, interacting with the project once will not qualify for an airdrop. So please scroll down so you can see. I don't want to read this. It's too lengthy. Okay, so see the qualifying point. So number 1, you bridged funds into Arbitrum 1. Arbitrum 1 is a layer 2 network. So if you use the official bridge and bridge tokens from Ethereum network to Arbitrum 1 network, it means you have 1 point. Now, number 2, conducted transaction during 2 distinct months. So if you use Arbitrum network for 2 months, you have another point. Number 3, if you use it for 6 months, you have another point. Number 4, use it for 9 months, just like that. Then number 5, it says conducted more than 4 transactions or interacted with more than 4 different smart contracts. See what I explained earlier. So Arbitrum is a network. Now you used 4 different protocols that are integrated on Arbitrum. It means you're qualified for this point now because you have interacted with 4 different smart contracts. So number 6, they said conducted more than 10 transactions or interacted with more than 10 different smart contracts. Number 7, 25 transactions, 25 smart contracts. So this means that if I carry out 25 transactions on EkoLance DApp, I have 25 transactions, 1 smart contract. So you need to. That is why if you're trying to farm an airdrop, you're not just glued to that one project. You need to find other if it's a layer 2 if it's a layer 2 network, you want to find out other projects that are integrated on it and use that network on those different platforms so that it will count for you as a different contract. So now, let's say I have $100 I want to use to farm EkoLance airdrop, and Prosper has $100 just like me. She wants to use to farm EkoLance airdrop. EkoLance is a, let's say, a layer 2 network now, and is integrated on different protocols, different dApps. Now, let's say I used just one dApp and I had 100 transactions on that one dApp on EkoLance network. It means I have one smart contract, 100 transactions. But Prosper is smarter. Prosper said, no, I will look for other DEXs, other dApps integrated on EkoLance network, and I will use those other ones. And Prosper went ahead to see 10 different projects integrated on EkoLance network, and Prosper interacted with all of them, you know, and had different transactions. And at the end of the day, if she had 100 transactions, it means she has 100 transactions, 25 contracts. And now we use the same amount of money to farm these airdrops, and we had the same number of transactions, but she has 25 contracts and I have one contract. So who do you think will have more airdrop allocation? Prosper will, because she used the project, she interacted extensively, more extensively than I did, right? So this is how it is. So the thing is, it's not about just being eligible for an airdrop. You want to be eligible for a high allocation, because that airdrop you're getting just $1,000 for, other persons got $100,000. So how did they get $100,000 and you got just $1,000? It is because of these things. They knew these things. If you just did only one thing here, you will not expect to have the same allocation as somebody that did everything here. So you can see the volume. You can see the other criteria. They said number 10, number 8 conducted 100 transactions with 100 different smart contracts. Number 9, aggregate volume of $10,000. Conducted transaction including in aggregate $10,000. Sorry. Number 11, conducted transaction exceeding in aggregate $250,000. So if you're farming an airdrop with $10 and I'm farming an airdrop with $50,000, you don't expect us to have the same allocation, right? So that is how it is. So I just showed you this so that you can see what it looks like. So if you're farming an airdrop, you need to just go beyond that project you're farming to look for other projects integrated with it. For instance, airdrop last year was given to people for, next slide, for using dApps that are integrated on Pyth network. So if you use any dApp or any protocol that is integrated with Pyth network, then you'll be eligible for the airdrop. So it's as simple as that. So note, if you are farming an airdrop, like I mentioned when we started, there are several projects coming up daily, several projects coming up every day. You cannot keep track of these projects. In a week, you can have 100 new DeFi projects. So if you are farming everything, you can get lost. So you need to select which ones you think are worth farming, and then make a list. You can use a spreadsheet to make a list of the projects you are interacting with, so that you can always go back to visit frequently. And number 2, interact frequently, like you have seen with Arbitrum criteria. Using a product one time does not make you eligible for an airdrop. If it is a retroactive airdrop, you need to use it over and over and over and over again. 3, follow individuals who research and post about airdrops. So this is very important. Like I mentioned earlier, I lacked this when I started farming airdrops. I did not have like people who were researching. I did not know so much, all of that. And like I mentioned earlier, this project, okay, that would be the last point. So the 4th thing there is be security cautious. Like I said, you want to farm airdrops, but that does not mean you click on every link. Scammers know this and they are smart. So they know that you're looking for airdrops, and they parade online with crazy fake links for you to click and compromise your wallet. So you want to be very careful, and you want to vet every project you're farming and you don't click on any link randomly. You make your research thoroughly before you use any project. You connect your wallet whatsoever. And finally, like I mentioned, most projects do not announce an airdrop at launch. They do not tell you that, oh, we'll be having an airdrop. Come and use our platform. Most of the time, they do not do this. It is testnet sometimes that say, oh, we're having an incentivized testnet. So you know that, okay, if I interact, then it means that I can get their tokens at the end of the day. But retroactive projects, all these bridges and dApps and protocols, and they don't tell you that you are doing an airdrop. All these layer twos, most of the time, they don't tell you, right? So it is left to you and your discretion to identify and interact beforehand, right? They only announce when they have already taken a snapshot. Snapshot is like they are taking like an on-chain photograph of every address that has interacted with their protocol, and these are the ones that they will give their airdrop. Now they will come and make an announcement that they are doing an airdrop after they have done a snapshot. And after a snapshot is done, you cannot do anything again. No transaction you do can count for you again. So you want to interact as much as possible with the little time you have before this project will airdrop. And the final point I didn't add here is for you to be patient, because most times this project, they do not announce an airdrop. So you are just speculating and you're waiting and you're watching, right? So you need patience while farming airdrop, because most times 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like I mentioned, Pixel, these two projects that did an airdrop this week, Pixel and Starknet, these projects have been here since 2021, right? 2021. So imagine people have been farming them since 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. It requires patience. Sometimes it's not really that lengthy, but most times it's this long. Most times you can start farming a project and in 1 year, 2 years, they've not even airdropped. For instance, we are expecting ZK Sync airdrop and Layer 0 airdrop this year. ZK Sync and Layer 0 project launched early 2021, if not late. Okay, early 2021, yeah. So you can imagine that. So you need patience while farming airdrops. So the next slide, I think that will be the last slide, right? Okay, the tools you need. I was going to share this to people, but I don't really know how. So probably I'll just copy the links and I'll drop it in the comment section. So you need DeFi Llama. Please click on DeFi Llama. Click on it so you see. If you want to find out, okay, what projects can I farm? What project can I farm? This research tool, DeFi Llama, makes it easy for you. They have a section dedicated to tokenless protocols, because sometimes if you're farming an airdrop, you want to look at what protocols do not have a token. What protocols do not have a token? So you know that when they finally launch their token, they might do an airdrop. So DeFi Llama compiles this new project that comes up that do not have a token yet, and makes a list of it so that you can possibly farm them. So please, if you can open the link, I just want to show it everyone who can see. So, okay, so this is DeFi Llama. Let me see the URL. So it is defilama.com. Okay, defilama.com/airdrop. So you can see they have a section for airdrop. Now, most of these projects, like we said, did not announce we are having an airdrop. But based on your discretion and based on your research, you can know that, okay, this project can airdrop. And DeFi Llama lists them here for you. So you can see projects that you can farm, but there are hundreds of them. For instance, this number 9, Meteora. Meteora is a DEX on Solana. And if you provide liquidity, they will have an airdrop very soon, if not this year. But they have not made an announcement, but we just know that they will have an airdrop. So all you have to do is go to Meteora, stake your tokens, provide liquidity, borrow tokens, lend tokens, and you know that you're doing all of that, you'll be eligible for the airdrop. So you can go to defilama.com/airdrop at your leisure to research on projects you can farm here, because like we said earlier, there are hundreds of them here. So you cannot do everything. You just have to look at the ones that are worth it and you think you can do, and just farm. So that is one research tool you need. So please, back to the slide. Then another research tool that I really use so much is tokenterminal.com. So Token Terminal is an aggregator that you don't have to open this one, don't worry. So it kind of lists it shows you the total value lock of every DeFi protocol, right? Now, what I realized from this project is that most protocols that do not have a token yet, they already list it on token terminal. So let's say they list Arbitrum and they put the TVL of Arbitrum. Then under Arbitrum, they will now write EkoLance DApp. Then under the volume generated from EkoLance platform in trading fees and all of that, they will put not available, not available, not available. It tells you something. It tells you that, okay, this project does not have a token now, but because it is in token terminal platform, they will have a token. Most of the projects I have farmed and have gotten their airdrops, majority of them, I got the updates from token terminal. Nobody told me this. I just researched this and I found out. For instance, Jito airdrop, Starknet, and the rest of them. Even ZK Sync, Lens, all these ones all these other projects that will do an airdrop eventually, they are all listed on token terminal if you go there. But on the token section, they said not available. So it tells you that this project will definitely have a token, but currently they do not have a token. So it gives you a chance to farm them, right? And majority, like 90% of the projects listed on token terminal that do not have a token now, but eventually has a token, they usually do an airdrop. So you get most of your alphas here. Like most of the projects I'm farming, I got those projects from token terminal because it is already listed here. So I talked about this so much. I don't know if token terminal saw my post on Twitter and they decided to make it a paid what's it called now? You have to pay and subscribe for you to view the not available section in token terminal. So for now, it's a paid service. So all that you need is Twitter. Twitter is a very good place for you. Token terminal is Twitter is a very good place. There are so many influencers who research and talk about airdrops, so you can follow them on Twitter. I didn't have time to make a list of them, but a few of them are BMS, Olympio, Crypto Telugu. So you can go to Twitter and search for Crypto Telugu, the verified one. He's very vetted when it comes to airdrops. So the next slide, please. Okay, so this is potential airdrop. I just listed. So Speed Router is a DApp, is a decentralized exchange rather. On speedrouter.com, you can swap token. It has a cross-chain swap function where you can swap tokens from a entirely non-EVM compatible network to an EVM compatible network. For instance, you can bridge token from Osmosis to Ethereum, from Osmosis to Arbitrum, and the rest of that. And there is speculation that Squid Router will have an airdrop. I'm very, very convinced that Squid Router will have an airdrop. So if you use DEXs a lot, you can try out app.speedrouter.com to swap your tokens, because as you are carrying out those activities, you are, creating you're creating a footprint on Squid Router, and if they have an airdrop tomorrow, you may likely be among. And remember everything we've discussed so far. Using Squid Router just one time and forgetting about it will not make you eligible. You have to use it consistently. For instance, I have an airdrop group where we do airdrops, where I drop daily airdrop tags. Almost every day I drop the Squid Router to remind people to use Squid Router to farm. So there is Fuel. So you can see that Squid Router is a retroactive airdrop now because it involves your real money. So secondly is Fuel. Fuel is currently on the testnet phase. You see that in the next slide. Fuel is a testnet. They might have an airdrop, and the airdrop might be massive, so you can interact. So there is Drip also. Drip is like an NFT platform where you get NFTs for free. You can have an airdrop from Drip. Drip is compatible with Solana, so you can only access Drip on your Solana wallet. So the next one I mentioned here is Phantom. Phantom is a Solana wallet, and there's speculation that Phantom might have an airdrop. So how can you be eligible for Phantom airdrop? So use every product that Phantom has built. For instance, on Phantom wallet, they have an inbuilt app where they have an inbuilt swap function where you can swap tokens. So you can use your Phantom wallet to swap tokens. You can use it to swap. You can use it to do, to store your tokens and all of that. For instance, Trust Wallet did an airdrop 2 years ago, right? So Phantom can also do the same. So there's also the bridge. The bridge is also a bridge used to bridge tokens from one chain to another. There's speculation for the bridge airdrops. So you can use the bridge to exchange your tokens from one currency to another. So the next slide is a tax. Please, next slide, please. So you can do any of those airdrops. You can participate on any of them for, and for a start. So this is like an airdrop tax I just dropped here. I'm so sorry I couldn't share this on my end. So this is fuel testnet. Fuel, there is speculation for a fuel airdrop. So you want to use fuel. You want to interact with the testnet. Now, this one does not require you to spend any money. So number one, what can you do on fuel? You can bridge fake tokens from Sepolia. Sepolia is a testnet network. You can bridge tokens from Sepolia to fuel. I don't know how to drop this link in the comments if it's possible. Okay, so number two, you join Fuel Guild. If it's possible to just share this parts in the comments, if that's okay, so everybody can participate. Then there's also a game that utilizes fuel. So you can play this game. It's a very simple game. You buy seeds, you plant seeds, you harvest seeds and stuff like that. With every of this interaction, planting, harvesting, you're signing the transactions on your wallet, on your Fuel wallet. So you're doing this, you're interacting with Fuel network, and if they have an airdrop, they might reward you because you interacted with their project. So that's the way it is. Is there another slide? Let's see. Oh, thank you. So yeah, that is how we go. So we'll be sharing this in the comments. I wanted to drop a link to like a spreadsheet of the project I'm currently farming so that you can have access to that. Probably I'll share that later on. So, but yeah, that's where I end for this presentation. So yeah, thank you. If you have questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Dorcas, so much for this presentation. It was very, very good, super understandable with so many real life examples, and this is super valuable for everyone. We got actually a lot of questions. Maybe let me kind of go through them and see. All right, so maybe we can compile a list with the airdrops that you mentioned, and when we post the session on YouTube, we can also post the links under the YouTube video so everyone has access to them. Then someone is asking, can I write a contract that interact with the contract, or do I have to use specific platform? This is Nicolas. I don't know, Dorcas, if you understand the question. Or maybe
okay, yes. So
yeah.
let me try to see the question.
Yeah, I can clarify if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I can write Solidity. So my question was, can I write a Solidity contract to interact with the token contract, or do I have, because I know that sometime I think that you need to interact with the platform itself, right? Or can I write a contract that does the transfer and exchange by itself?
Okay, so you can deploy a contract. There is actually you can use hold on, I'm trying to find the name of that. Hold on, please. So if you're a developer, very fine and cool, you can deploy a contract, by yourself. But as a non-dev like myself and many other persons listening, there are different websites you can use to just deploy simple contracts. For instance, you can use minter.mikali.com. There is a section for contracts. So you just do basic basic links, just basic push buttons, and it automatically deploys for you. other times you have to use this other complex platform. What's the name again? Just hold on, I'm trying to find the name of that platform used to deploy contracts. Let me find the name. So you can use Minta. Let me drop the link in the comments. Okay, so I just dropped the link. So on this platform, Minta. Okay, I forgot to add this as well. That. Oh, sorry. There are platforms that make farming airdrops very easy. One of them is this minta.mikeli.com. So with this platform, you can deploy contracts easily. You can interact with several protocols, several chains at the same time. So I just dropped the link now. I don't know if you can see it. With this,
yes, we can.
Yeah, so with this now, you can deploy a very simple contract. All you have to do is click on it, depending on the network you want to deploy the contract. For instance, now we just talked about Fuel Testnet, right? So now if Fuel has the mainnet goes live now, you and the network is currently on minta.mikeli.com. You can simply go there to deploy a contract because it counts as an interaction for you, and it puts you at it gives you an edge over other people who just interact without deploying a contract, right? So if you're a developer, yes, you can deploy a contract. For instance, like during Arbitrum Airdrop, I don't know, before Arbitrum Airdrop, many developers created, these degen tokens, meme coins. If you can do that, fine and good, because the wallet you use to deploy these contracts and all of that will be eligible for the airdrop, right? Because we generate trading activities. People will come to buy the token, sell the token, and all of that, and it will also count as interaction for you. So if you're a dev, you can deploy a contract on that network, fine and good. But if you're not a dev, you can use website like minta.mikeli.com to deploy a simple contract, and it still counts for you. I'm trying to look for the other websites that is used to deploy contracts. I can't really, the name is not coming to my head right now. Remix. So remix.ethereum.org is another one, but it's quite complex. If you're using Remix for the first time, you will need a guide. So you can use YouTube guides. I have dropped the link in the comments. So Remix is another place where you can deploy contracts. So this project that will have an airdrop, for instance, let me give you a cheat code, Scroll now. If you can deploy a contract on Scroll, good. If you can run a node, good. So developers actually have a very unfair advantage over normal users because you know very well how to interact with these contracts more than just a basic non-developer person. So yes, if you know anything you can do, at the end of the day, the goal is to have genuine, create interaction as much as possible. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Someone
Okay,
also asked for your Twitter handle, if you can.
Okay, I will drop that I will drop that now in the box.
All right. And then Nicholas had another question. I will quickly read it. What do you think about second round airdrop like DYM and Yup? I think it's called Yup. Do you think it's worth doing the effort, or first drop is always better?
Okay, so from what I've seen, it's very important to be among the first set of people to get an airdrop. So the Dimension airdrop, I don't know if they will have a second airdrop. I don't know if they made any announcements. I'm not aware of that. But there is speculation for a second Jupiter airdrop, and I'm very bullish on that one because airdrops on Solana chain are very massive. So yes, so Jup, it's very important to still use Jupiter. So Jupiter is a DEX on Solana. Everyone who used Jupiter got Jup airdrop 4 months ago, right? 3 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. When was the airdrop again? Sorry, the airdrop was this year. It was last month. I can't recall anymore, but the snapshot was taken last year. So you can still use Jupiter. For instance, I still use Jupiter. That because it might still qualify you for another airdrop. So keep using that. And like I mentioned earlier, using it's very important to establish an on-chain footprint. So if you're on-chain, it's very important to interact with as many projects, as many protocols as possible, because most of these projects are integrated with some kind of networks that can reward you for simply interacting with those networks. So interacting on Jupe, for instance, now, let me give an instance. When Airdrop was January, right? When Airdrop was given to everyone who used Jupiter Exchange. So we knew nothing about when the project, the community just came about with when Airdrop, and they decided to reward everybody who used Jupiter platform, right? So everyone who used Jupiter got Jupiter Airdrop, and most people still got when Airdrop. So using some platforms like we discussed can make you eligible for some airdrops you don't even know about. That is why it's important to establish a footprint. So yeah.
All right, perfect. There's some questions coming in, but because we're very, very over our time, I would like to finish the call here. Dorcas, thank you again so much for this presentation and for all the information you gave us. This recording will be put in our YouTube channel. I put the link in the chat, and also everyone who participated in the session tonight will receive a special token from us. It's not a monetary token, it's a soulbound token, which will prove that you have participated here. You'll receive an email about that. Thank you again, Dorcas, and thanks everyone for participating, and I wish everyone a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you, EkoLance.
Bye.